Blythe Vanderholt sees a black man's SUV near her pristine driveway and thinks he's just another neighbor to dominate. Another rule breaker for her golden HOA pin to crush. But what she doesn't know, Reginald Carter is no ordinary teacher. He's the man who will spark a neighborhood rebellion. Stick around, because when the videos trend and #Vanderholt falls sweeps the internet, Blythe's kingdom of petty fines won't hold. Justice isn't served in board meetings. It's served when a whole community rises. Curious about our global audience? Let us know where you're watching from and what time it is. Remember to subscribe for more content. Blythe Vanderholt adjusted her Hermes scarf, relishing the satisfying click of her heels against the pristine concrete of Oakwood Estates. Her perfectly manicured fingers traced the golden HOA pin on her lapel. 15 years of maintaining standards, of keeping order. Now this. Intrusion. That weathered Navy SUV sullied her driveway's edge again, its middle-class mediocrity an insult to her Mercedes' gleaming perfection. Drop your location and the time you're watching in the comments below. We appreciate every subscriber who joins our community. Security? Yes, this is Blythe Vanderholt. We have another violation at 42 Oakwood Circle. Her voice carried across the morning air, intentionally loud enough for the neighbors to hear. She circled the offending vehicle like a shark, iPhone raised, documenting every infraction. And please hurry, some people need to learn their place. The front door of the adjacent house opened, and out stepped Reginald Carter, adjusting his worn leather messenger bag. Blythe Vanderholt's lip curled. A public school teacher, in their exclusive community. Standards had certainly slipped. "Mr. Carter," she called out, her tone dripping with manufactured courtesy. "Your vehicle is once again encroaching on my property. This will be your third violation this month." She touched her golden pin, drawing strength from its weight. "Perhaps you didn't understand the community guidelines when you arrived." "Mrs. Vanderholt, I've measured it. The car is exactly where it should be." His calm response only fueled her indignation. A small crowd of neighbors had gathered, phones discreetly recording. Perfect. Blythe Vanderholt stepped closer, invading his space. "Listen carefully. I've maintained the standards of Oakwood Estates for longer than you've been teaching. This isn't some public school playground where you can ignore the rules." She jabbed her manicured finger toward his chest. "Move! The car! A young woman from across the street called out. "Dr. Carter, the school board meeting starts in 20 minutes. They're waiting for your STEM program presentation." Blythe Vanderholt froze, her finger still extended. "Doctor? School board?" A flicker of unease crossed her face, quickly replaced by renewed determination. She grabbed his messenger bag strap, yanking it. "Until this vehicle is moved, it's not going anywhere." The crowd's phones raised higher, a sea of screens capturing her moment of authority. Yet something felt different. The usual cowering respect was missing from their eyes. Instead, she saw judgment. Her golden pin suddenly felt heavy. Within hours, #Vanderholt venom trended locally. Her perfectly curated image, captured in all its furious glory, spread across neighborhood groups and local news sites. But she was Blythe Vanderholt. She'd shaped this community. Nobody questioned her authority. Your choice will impact the story. Type power. If you've ever witnessed someone drunk on authority. Later that evening, alone in her immaculate living room, Blythe Vanderholt polished her golden HOA pin, a ritual that had always brought comfort. But tonight, her reflection in its surface seemed distorted, unfamiliar. She remembered her first board meeting, the intoxicating feeling of control, the way others yielded to her will. When had maintaining standards become about wielding power? The question echoed in her mind. How long could she maintain her grip on Oakwood Estates when the very foundations of her authority were beginning to crack? A notification lit up her phone. The video had reached regional news channels. Blythe Vanderholt squared her shoulders. She'd weathered challenges before, but why did this one feel different? Why did Dr. Carter's calm defiance shake her more than any previous confrontation? The golden pin gleamed accusingly in the fading light. Tomorrow, she would show them all why Blythe Vanderholt's words were law in Oakwood Estates. Tomorrow, she would restore order. But deep in her gut, an unfamiliar sensation grew. The first tremors of doubt in her carefully controlled world. Power wasn't something Blythe Vanderholt inherited. She'd earned it, one meticulously enforced regulation at a time. Sitting in her mahogany-furnished home office, she traced her fingers over the framed photo of her father, Richard Vanderholt III, former CEO of Vanderholt Properties. Order above all, he'd told her on her 16th birthday, and those words had shaped her destiny. The growing stack of complaints about Carter's violations brought a familiar warmth to her chest. Running her golden HOA pin through her fingers, a ritual that usually calmed her, she noticed her reflection in the polished surface was slightly distorted. Something felt different. The trending video from this morning's confrontation, Hatch Vanderholt V's teacher, had garnered more attention than expected. Her laptop pinged with another email, this time from Sandra Mitchell, a board member she'd considered loyal. Perhaps we should review our approach. Blythe's jaw tightened. First Carter, now this? She opened her meticulously maintained violation database, scrolling through years of documented infractions. Each entry represented a victory, a step toward perfection. But something caught her eye. A pattern she'd never noticed before, or perhaps had chosen to ignore. The violations, the fines, the friendly reminders, they all targeted specific residents. The Watson family's basketball hoop, Mrs. Rodriguez's cultural decorations, Mr. Kim's traditional garden elements. Carter wasn't the first, just the first to fight back. Her father's voice echoed in her mind. Control the small things, and the big things fall into place. She'd learned that lesson watching him manage his real estate empire. But now, alone in her office, another memory surfaced. The day her father's empire crumbled under allegations of discriminatory practices. A notification popped up on her screen. HOA discrimination, a scientific analysis. The research paper detailed how seemingly neutral policies often masked systemic bias. Blythe's hand trembled as she recognized her own strategies laid bare in academic terms. The golden pin felt heavier somehow. Her phone buzzed. A message from the neighborhood website moderator. Residents were sharing stories, years of them. The Thompsons' denied playground access, the Ahmed family's delayed maintenance requests. Carter's case had opened a floodgate. Type truth if you've experienced HOA discrimination. Share your story below. The comments section flooded with responses, each one a crack in her carefully constructed facade. Standing at her window, Blythe watched Carter tending his garden, children from across the neighborhood gathering around him as he explained something. Probably science, his passion. She remembered a time when her own passion had been building community, not controlling it. Her golden HOA pin caught the light again. But this time, she saw what it truly represented. Not authority earned, but power taken. Power that, like her father's, was built on a foundation that couldn't last. The sound of her signature pen dropping to the desk echoed in the quiet room. For the first time in years, Blythe Vanderholt felt something she'd worked so hard to suppress in others: uncertainty. Tomorrow's board meeting loomed ahead, and for once, she wasn't sure she had all the answers. "Have you ever realized your power was built on sand?" she whispered to her reflection, the weight of years of necessary sacrifices finally settling on her shoulders. The perfectly maintained order of her world was beginning to show its cracks, and she couldn't look away. A cold shiver runs down Blythe Vanderholt's spine as she strides through the eerily quiet clubhouse, her heels clicking against marble floors that once announced her authority, but now echo with accusation. The latest HOA newsletter lies untouched in neat stacks, her carefully crafted exposé of Reginald Carter's violations gathering dust instead of outrage. Through the window, Blythe Vanderholt spots Mrs. Henderson, once her staunchest ally, laughing with Carter beside his properly parked car. Her manicured nails dig into her palm as she watches the science teacher point to something on his phone, both of them shaking their heads. The golden HOA pin on her lapel feels like it's burning through her silk blouse. "Security? Yes, this is Blythe Vanderholt again. There's clearly a gathering forming in Lot C." Her voice trails off as the guard clears his throat. "Ma'am, we've reviewed the footage from your previous complaints. Mr. Carter's vehicle has been within regulations each time. Perhaps we should discuss—" She hangs up, hands trembling. Opening her social media, Blythe Vanderholt's breath catches. Her carefully curated neighborhood watch posts are flooded with comments, not with the support she expected, but with questions. Screenshots of her previous citations, timing patterns, selective enforcement. Someone's done their homework. Probably that methodical Carter with his scientific mind. @Vanderholt Vendetta is trending locally. Her phone buzzes with a message from the HOA's attorney. "Meeting requested regarding discriminatory practice allegations." The golden pin weighs heavier still. In the parking lot, she watches as resident after resident parks beside Carter's car, a silent protest against her authority. Through her windshield, she sees Thompson, her last board ally, shaking hands with Carter. Betrayal tastes bitter in her mouth. Blythe Vanderholt's fingers trace the engraved surface of her pin, remembering the day she was elected board president. "I built this community," she whispers to her reflection in the rearview mirror, but the words sound hollow now. "I controlled this community," comes the honest correction, and it terrifies her. Share this moment if you've ever seen someone's power start to crumble. Her designer handbag spills open as she rushes back inside, scattering years of meticulously documented violations across the lobby floor. As she kneels to gather them, she realizes every single citation bears Carter's name or the names of residents who've supported him. The pattern is undeniable, even to her. That evening, Blythe Vanderholt sits alone in her immaculate living room, watching through her curtains as neighbors gather for an impromptu block party. On Carter's street, of course. No one's called to report it. No one's called her at all. The security footage she demanded of Carter's suspicious behavior plays on her laptop, showing nothing but a respected teacher helping elderly residents with their groceries, teaching kids about the stars from his driveway, being everything she's forgotten how to be, a neighbor. "My community," Blythe Vanderholt whispers, clutching her golden pin as the sound of distant laughter filters through her windows. But it's not her community anymore. It never truly was. And as #Vanderholt Vendetta hits the local news, she realizes it never will be again. Officer Blythe. Vanderholt clutches her golden HOA pin, its weight suddenly suffocating in her trembling fingers as the harsh scrape of metal against asphalt pierces the morning air. Her Mercedes, her symbol of authority, dangles helplessly from the tow truck's chains, the third time this week. The crisp autumn wind carries whispers and smartphone clicks, a chorus of neighbors documenting her humiliation. "This is illegal!" Blythe Vanderholt's voice cracks, betraying the fear beneath her fading veneer of control. But Carter's security cameras had caught everything: her midnight chalking of his driveway, the spiteful towing orders, the staged violations she'd manufactured. The evidence plays in an endless loop on the neighborhood Facebook group, each view another nail in her coffin. Her phone buzzes incessantly. Email after email floods her inbox, each subject line a dagger. Emergency board meeting. Motion for immediate removal. Community petition. Blythe Vanderholt's fingers tremble as she scrolls, her perfectly manicured nails clicking against the screen like a countdown to her inevitable fall. The sound of doors closing follows her down Maple Avenue, the street she'd once ruled with iron-fisted parking regulations. Mrs. Chen, who always brought her homemade dumplings to board meetings, hurries inside without a glance. The Patels draw their curtains. Even Margaret Webster, her longtime ally in the property values preservation crusade, crosses to the other side. Type "karma" if you've ever wanted to see a tyrant fall, scrolls across the neighborhood's viral TikTok, already at 500,000 views. HOA drama trends locally, each notification a mockery of her crumbling authority. Blythe Vanderholt stands before her mirror, the golden HOA pin glinting accusingly. She remembers polishing it just yesterday, relishing its symbol of power. Now it feels like a brand of shame. "I built this community," she whispers to her reflection, but the words ring hollow. The carefully curated image of suburban perfection she'd maintained for 15 years shatters like fine china. Her laptop chimes. Another email. The board meeting minutes, featuring a detailed account of her violations, has been forwarded to every resident. The systematic harassment, the discriminatory enforcement, the fraudulent fines, all laid bare in clinical bullet points. Her chest tightens as she reads the final line. Emergency vote scheduled. Removal of board president Blythe Vanderholt. The tow truck's hydraulics whine one final time as her Mercedes disappears around the corner. Blythe Vanderholt's hands shake as she unpins her golden badge of office, letting it clatter onto her marble countertop. The sound echoes through her empty house, the same house she'd used as a weapon, threatening others with property value destruction while building her own fortress of solitude. Share this video if you've ever faced an HOA tyrant. Another notification. Another viral moment. Another crack in her carefully constructed world. As dusk falls, Blythe Vanderholt sits alone in her darkening living room, watching headlights sweep across her walls as neighbors return home, to the community she can no longer control. The golden pin catches the fading light, a reminder of power corrupted and authority abused. "Have you ever watched your kingdom crumble?" she whispers to the emptiness, her voice barely audible over the distant sound of car doors and family dinners. The everyday symphony of a neighborhood finally free from her reign. The emergency board meeting looms tomorrow, but tonight, Blythe Vanderholt already knows her era of unchecked power has ended, not with a bang, but with the quiet click of closing doors and the viral spread of justice, one share at a time. Blythe Vanderholt stares at her reflection in the mahogany-framed mirror, her trembling fingers tracing the empty spot on her lapel, where the HOA pin once gleamed. The morning light filters through designer curtains she'll never adjust again, casting long shadows across the boxes that now hold her carefully constructed life. Through the window, she watches Reginald Carter's students helping him organize a community garden in the very spot where she once towed his car. Their laughter carries across the manicured lawn she can no longer regulate, each sound a reminder of her crumbling authority. The bylaws were supposed to protect us, Blythe Vanderholt whispers to herself, her voice catching as she seals another box. But they protected me from seeing the truth. Her hands brush against years of violation notices she'd issued, each one now a testament to her obsession with control. The viral video of her meltdown at the emergency HOA meeting plays on her phone. 2.5 million views and counting. Neighborhood. Karma still trends, her name forever linked to the footage of her desperate attempt to justify towing a teacher's car during a school science fair. A knock at the door makes her flinch. Sarah Chen, her former HOA vice president, stands with resignation papers. "The transfer of power is complete," Sarah says, her voice firm but not unkind. The new board's first act was to approve Mr. Carter's community education initiative. Blythe Vanderholt's hands shake as she signs. Each stroke of the pen dismantles 15 years of arbitrary rules and petty vendettas. "I thought I was maintaining standards," she says, more to herself than Sarah. "I never realized I was destroying the very community I claimed to protect." Outside, the moving truck's engine hums, a mechanical countdown to her exile. Through her designer blinds, she watches neighbors gathering in Carter's driveway. They're not there to gloat. They're planning the neighborhood's first community festival. Their unity, their purpose, everything she fought against, now flourishes in her absence. Her Mercedes, packed with only essential belongings, awaits in the driveway. The house keys feel heavy in her palm as she takes one final walk through rooms that echo with memories of power meetings and violation notices. In the kitchen, she finds her collection of HOA regulation binders, each page highlighted and annotated with her obsessive notes. Type, "Power corrupts," if you've ever seen authority destroy someone from within, flashes across her phone's screen as another wave of comments floods the viral video. Standing in her driveway for the last time, Blythe Vanderholt faces the community she once ruled. Reginald Carter steps forward, holding out a small potted plant, a peace lily. "Everyone deserves a fresh start," he says, offering the gift that represents everything she once would have regulated against. The truth hits her with stunning clarity. Her power was always an illusion, maintained through fear and arbitrary rules. Real authority, she now understands, grows from respect and community. Everything she sacrificed in her pursuit of control. Share this moment of realization to remind others that true power lies in building bridges, not walls. Scrolls across thousands of screens as her story continues to spread. The Mercedes door closes with a soft thud. Not a slam of defiance, but a whisper of acceptance. As Blythe Vanderholt drives away from Oakwood Estates, she catches a final glimpse in her rearview mirror. The community board is already being updated, her name replaced with Community Education Center Hours. The moving truck follows behind, carrying boxes of regulations that will never be enforced. But it's the empty spot on her lapel that weighs heaviest. A small, vacant reminder that power without purpose is nothing but decorated tyranny. Have you witnessed someone's power crumble into wisdom? Share this story with #neighborhood karma to spread the truth. Community over control.